For decades, oil was the symbol of wealth and power, the driving force behind empires, wars, and fortunes. Billionaires made their money from oil, oil-fueled industries, and nations fought over it. But now the focus is shifting. The real prize is no longer buried deep beneath the earth. It's water, a resource as old as the planet itself. But why are billionaires suddenly investing in water while others are still chasing oil? For more than a century, oil ruled the global economy. It was the lifeblood of the Industrial Revolution, powering everything from cars to factories to planes. It built empires, shaped geopolitics, and enriched men like John D. Rockefeller, who controlled Standard Oil and became one of the wealthiest individuals in history. The Middle East was transformed into a powerhouse, where oil money fueled lavish lifestyles and extreme influence. Oil wasn't just a commodity, it was power. It was what made countries and corporations tick, and it symbolized dominance on the global stage. In the mid-20th century, oil was at the heart of the Cold War, with the US and Soviet Union both vying for access to key oil fields. It powered the engines of war, as seen in conflicts like the Gulf War, and became the foundation of global economic and political strategies. Oil was, without a doubt, the world's most powerful resource. But today, the landscape is changing. The rise of electric vehicles, coupled with the rapid growth of renewable energy sources like solar and wind power, is making the dependence on oil less critical. Nations and companies are pushing toward cleaner energy alternatives, recognizing that the world can no longer rely on fossil fuels in the face of climate change. In fact, more than 30 countries have committed to banning internal combustion engine cars by 2040. On top of that, global climate regulations are tightening. Governments around the world are implementing stricter policies to curb greenhouse gas emissions, creating a growing investor hesitancy toward fossil fuels. As the world battles to meet climate goals, oil's dominance is gradually fading. This brings us to an uncomfortable question. If oil is becoming a less viable option, what's next? As oil starts to lose its power, water is emerging as the new global prize. While oil might have built empires, water is the foundation of life. As the world faces the harsh realities of climate change, we're seeing more extreme weather events, droughts, and water shortages. About 1 in 3 people globally already face water stress, and that number is expected to rise sharply. In many regions, water scarcity is already causing massive agricultural and economic damage. But why water? While you can technically live without oil, you can't survive without water. It's the most essential resource, required for food production, health, energy generation, and even the technology that powers modern life. Water is fundamental to almost every industry, making it far more valuable than any barrel of oil. While most people are busy tracking stock prices or chasing the next viral trend, billionaires are quietly securing something far more essential: water rights. They're buying up land rich with water resources, investing in purification technologies, and positioning themselves to control one of the planet's most vital assets. Even Wall Street has caught on. In 2020, water officially became a tradable commodity on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, joining the ranks of oil and gold. Investors can now speculate on future water prices, signaling a future where water isn't just a basic need, but a powerful financial asset. To be clear, these futures contracts speculates on water pricing and not ownership of physical water itself. Michael Burry, the investor who famously predicted the 2008 financial crisis, shifted his focus after the crash toward farmland with water rights. His strategy was simple but powerful. If you control the water, you control the food, and ultimately survival. Bill Gates is also playing a long game. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he's investing heavily in water purification and sanitation technologies, aiming to make clean water more accessible, especially in underserved parts of the world. Meanwhile, corporations like Nestle and Coca-Cola have long controlled natural springs and water sources globally, ensuring their bottled water businesses thrive even as local supplies shrink. These moves have not gone unnoticed. Public backlash has grown louder, accusing them of commodifying a basic human right for corporate profit. One of the earliest visionaries in this space was oil tycoon T. Boone Pickens. Long before others saw the trend, Pickens began acquiring massive water rights in Texas, predicting that as oil's dominance faded, water would rise as the ultimate strategic resource. From Wall Street investors to tech billionaires, the wealthiest players aren't just investing in the future, they're securing control over the very resource that the future depends on. And here's where AI and technology enter the picture. in ways you might not have thought about. As AI becomes more central to our lives, water is also becoming critical to the technology shaping our future, especially artificial intelligence. As the world races to develop smarter AI, there's a hidden cost lurking beneath the surface: water. Every chatbot response, every AI-generated image, every real-time translation all rely on data centers. These are massive warehouses filled with high-performance computers that generate intense heat. And to keep these systems running, companies use water-based cooling systems. And the numbers are staggering. According to researchers at UC Riverside, training just a single large AI model like GPT-3 can consume over 700,000 liters of fresh water. That's roughly what 500 people use in an entire month. But it doesn't stop at training. Running, updating, and scaling AI models daily continues to drain resources. In 2022 alone, Google used over 5 billion gallons of water across its data centers, enough to supply 37,000 US households for an entire year. Microsoft saw its own water use jump by 34% in just 1 year, largely due to expanding its AI operations. To put it into perspective, asking an AI to write an essay could use as much water as brewing several cups of coffee. A few hundred image generations might consume the same amount of water as taking a long shower. Even watching a single YouTube video hosted on an AI-optimized server can use up a few liters of water in cooling. Now, multiply that by billions of users every single day. We often think of AI as cloud-based, floating somewhere out there in the ether, but the reality is deeply physical, and water is quietly becoming one of AI's most critical fuels. As AI becomes more integrated into daily life, we may need to ask a serious question. Is our digital future draining our most precious natural resource? With billionaires securing their stake in water rights, a troubling ethical dilemma arises. Should water be a private asset or a human right? Water is essential for life, and access to clean water should arguably be a universal right. But as private companies and wealthy investors secure control over this life-sustaining resource, millions of people around the world could find themselves without access to affordable water. Moreover, as poor nations face increasing difficulties accessing clean water, the consequences will be devastating. Predictions of water wars are already being discussed, and in some regions, conflicts over access to fresh water have already begun. If water becomes a scarce and highly traded commodity, what happens to those who cannot afford it? The oil rush is over. The water rush is beginning, but the real question isn't just why billionaires are investing in water, it's why we aren't paying attention. As the world's water crisis deepens, it's clear that the future is not only about oil or tech, but about who controls the water that keeps both running. Water will soon become the most valuable resource in the world, and in the battle for the future, those with water rights will hold the most power. If you found this eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe to Over Easy.